You wasted all that gold on the pre-show.
Hello, and welcome to episode 151 of the Casual Try Hard podcast. I'm Brian.
And I'm Chad. I'm
Bro,
James.
Beans. And we are talking about alchemy today.
Alchemy. Dun, dun, dun.
It used to be trying to turn lead into gold. Now I think it's just trying to turn magic into Hearthstone.
We'll get into it. I have
so-
mixed feelings that we'll get into.
As do I. So if you want to tweet at us, you can get us at CasualTryPod.
Yeah, hit us up with your thoughts on Alchemy, the new digital-only cards, the rebalanced cards, or anything else. You can find us on Facebook at CasualTryHardMTG, or you can email us, show@CasualTryHardMTG.com. We did a whole 2-hour-long pre-show this week on a cube Brian's building.
Yes.
Would guess if Brian is missing any of these cards, he's going to get them at our TCG player affiliate link, tcg.casualtryhardmtg.com, where anything you purchase will help support the show.
Hey, I am nothing if not brand loyal. So I will definitely be doing that.
Yeah. Also, if you guys want to support us a little bit more directly, or if you wanted to hear this huge, giant pre-show about the cube Brian's building, you can support us on patreon.com/casualtryhardmtg, where you'll get access to the pre-show and you'll get access to our show notes, and you'll be put on my mailing list. And maybe at some point I will finally get around to reworking the tiers and make them something more organized. But for now, just throw us a couple bucks and you get access to all of that stuff. And we would really appreciate it. We also have our Discord channel. There's a link in the description. There's a link on all our social media if you want to jump into Discord. Have some pretty cool conversations in there. Meet some new people. We got a special treat for you guys coming up that sprung out of Discord. So stay tuned for that.
Yeah. Yeah, we are bringing you stuff. This is happening.
It'll be exciting.
It will. So, we jumping into this whole mess?
I mean, there's no other time to do it than right now, so let's do it.
All right.
Alchemy.
So, they were kind of teasing a big announcement on the with Daily MTG. Like, it came out before, like, to the point where I had stuff going on, but I was like, oh, I really want to watch this Daily MTG to see what this announcement is, right? So they got me, right? I was like, oh, okay. I really want to see what's going on. I did not
hear anything about a big announcement coming. Literally, the first I heard of this was when you sent me the link, and at the time, I didn't even really read it.
Okay. So they announced that they are making a new arena-only Magic format that is somewhere between standard and historic, and its purpose kind of, and its main purpose is to rebalance standard cards and infuse the format with new digital-only Magic cards to kind of freshen up standard. Because, like we've talked about, like, standard feels like it comes out, we play standard for, like, a couple weeks, and then it's like, I don't want to play standard anymore. This format is solved.
Right.
So this is their way to try to deal with that, which is to basically stick new cards in the format from time to time.
And kind of tweak some cards that are already in the format. And they go both ways as well. They will nerf cards that are a little bit too powerful or too oppressive or too omnipresent. And they will buff cards that they think would either fill a hole or, somebody thinks should see more play than it does.
Yeah, so um, this is the first time that they've kind of like just been like, yeah, we've kind of missed the mark. And
Yeah,
like
it's really weird because like every other digital card game is that's like a classification, right? A
it is,
DCG?
I guess, yeah, or
Yeah,
digital
whatever.
TCG, whatever you want to call it.
Sure. Yeah, whatever it is. Like every other one that's out there does this. Magic is the only one that doesn't
Yeah, and I mean,
because like Magic comes from the world of paper where you can't do this. And like the paper has kind of always been sacred until
yes,
now.
until now.
Yeah.
So it is something that happens in other games, and like the infusing new cards into the format is something that happens, I think, with like Hearthstone and Legends of Runeterra and other games, where at some set point there's like just like, hey, here's an extra 100 cards,
Yeah.
make new decks, and like that's a way to try to keep their main format like fresh and interesting.
Hmm. Yeah, I mean, look, we already said that we've said it a million times, but I'm going to say it one more time. The format gets solved way too quickly. And, coming from somebody who's been playing the game for probably way too many years at this point, um, like that never used to be a problem. The format wouldn't typically get solved until almost rotation or almost like when a new set came out. And for the format to be basically solved before before set release, for a while there, we were getting an arena release and then a week, and then pre-release and then a week and then set release. And 2 weeks on arena, the format's solved already. There's no more work to be done.
Yeah, you're just like, okay, yeah, we're done. Let's move on.
Yep.
So it's it's good on one hand that they're trying to address standard getting solved so quickly in the way
Hmm.
that they can only do on arena.
Right.
But remember when we couldn't have more formats than standard in
Yeah.
historic because we're gonna totally like dilute the player base and think of the queue times,
Yeah.
right? Like now we're just taking the people that are like I play standard and just chopping them in half, or
I
into
mean,
like
maybe. Like, I would venture to say this is just going to replace standard. And that's kind of where, like, my mind is right now. Um, Kind of my gut reaction to this whole thing was that I hate it and it's awful and it's going to kill the game. But I think this is just going to make Arena a different game where it's not going to be paper magic anymore. Like
yeah
Alchemy is just going to take the place of standard, and then you'll have no analog to like paper magic on Arena.
yeah you had said that and I had not heard that where basically like, hey, this just makes arena its own thing. So if you want to go play um, standard, you're gonna have to play in paper now
Mm-hmm.
because there's not gonna be standard on arena anymore. And
Well,
that,
I mean, like they said that standard's still going to be on Arena, and what I had told you was just my opinion. I don't know if that's actually going to be the case or not, but that's kind of my hope at this point. Is I think that's the best case scenario. Is that Arena just kind of distances itself from Paper Magic and it's its own thing with its own card pool and it's the rules engine and basically it. And if you kind of look at like the big picture of everything that Wizards is doing right now as far as secret layers and universes beyond and these changes with Arena, I think that's kind of what it all boils down to, is that Magic is just kind of a rules engine that people put whatever they want to in it, whether it's Alchemy or Lord of the Rings or Warhammer or whatever else is going on. I think it's a kind of a shift in ideology a little bit.
yeah, I don't disagree. But what I mean by like standard isn't on arena anymore.
Mm-hmm.
If alchemy becomes like the 90% of what players play who play on Arena, that, like, let's say there are 100 current Standard players, right?
Mm-hmm.
If 90 of them move to Alchemy
Yeah.
and there's 10 people still jamming Standard,
Right.
right? Standard is kind of effectively dead on Arena,
Mm-hmm.
right? And so
Yeah.
if you want to play actual Standard, you have to, like, dust off your cards and go to the LGS, which is
Yeah.
not a bad thing.
No, not at all.
But it just sucks that, you know, they couldn't come up with a more like, I guess, old timey Magic player solution, right? Like, to just, like, bring the stuff into the game from, like, Hearthstone or other digital TCGs, as opposed to doing things that are uniquely Magic, is a little disappointing.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I guess we have to wait and see what happens, but the same way in my head I can see, like, Arena distancing itself from, like, actual Magic and being a different game. I can also see this kind of opening up more room in Arena, where, like, they said that all these changes they're going to make to Standard to make it Alchemy are automatically going to apply to Alchemy or to Historic. Like, all of the digital cards, the digital exclusive cards are going to be in Historic. All of the rebalanced cards are going to be in Historic. You don't have the option to play Historic without the digital cards or without the rebalanced cards. You just have whatever is on Arena is in Historic.
Yeah,
That
so, like,
may open up room for something like Pioneer on Arena, where, like, it's not really going to compete with each other anymore. You know what I mean?
yeah, I was gonna say that, one, like, it kind of sucks where, let's say you're like me and you put together, like, the green-white collected company deck that has Luminarch Expirant in Historic,
Yeah.
right? That deck is, like, tier 2,
Right.
right? And you took one of the better cards in it and you nerfed it
Yeah.
for
Yeah, that's
reasons. So, like, I understand why, you know, you don't want a situation where, you know, the nerfed version and the unnerfed version of the card are both, like, accessible in Historic.
in
but,
the same
like,
format. Yeah.
In the same format, right? But I feel like you could say, like, hey, we're not dumb. We know what cards we nerfed and what cards we buffed. And we're going to make it so the buffed versions of the cards from Alchemy go into Historic.
Mm-hmm.
But the versions that we didn't adjust for Standard are for Alchemy. We didn't downgrade, we didn't nerf. The regular version is going to be available in Historic.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I guess the problem is like, if they're assuming that they're going to capture an audience that is super into conjuring cards from spell books, or perpetually doing things, right? Like, do they want to?
I mean, some of those cards are really good. Like, I mean, we got a whole list of stuff to talk about. I don't know, like, how much you want to jump around, but that Toralf's whatever that, like, puts a whole bunch of lightning bolts in your deck, like, that card is good.
See, now I've heard people say the card is, like, unplayable.
No way.
And awful.
How?
I mean, so
how is a 3-mana 3/3 with haste that fills your deck with lightning bolts bad? Like, in that deck, I would always want to draw a lightning bolt over anything else in my deck.
So the Jerry T argument was, like, it's not, like, mana efficient, like, on turn, like, 3 or 4. Like, you don't want to draw things that, like, later in the game aren't particularly powerful. Now, granted, if you're just playing burn,
yeah, I mean, the curve in that deck, like, stops at 3. You're just
fair.
Like 1, 2, 3 burn.
Like, I don't know. Like, I've not played a game where that is a thing you can do. I also love that we couldn't have lightning bolt for real. Too good.
Right.
But we can have things that conjure lightning bolts. That's fine.
Yeah, that's funny.
So I don't know.
I mean, think about playing that alongside Experimental Frenzy, where you just fill your deck full of lightning bolts and then frenzy them.
Fair. Bolt you, you're dead.
Yeah. Also, like a different deck, but
yeah. But no, I see what you're saying. But like, I just haven't had experience playing. Like, if you get 2 attacks, I think you're golden. But like, I haven't had experience playing a game where that is the thing you can do. Like, I don't feel like Eternal did that.
Yeah. I don't know.
But like, it would be I think it hurts Historic if you take card like Goldspan Dragon wasn't busted in Historic.
Right.
It wasn't even particularly good.
Right. Yeah. It was just
and now we just made sure it's not playable. Yeah. So the fact that they are just like, yeah, let's
Well, so I wonder if they unnerf once it's out of standard and in a bigger format that can support it. Because like these changes are going to happen all the time.
Yes, every month.
Yeah, I believe once a month. Like they said, a set will release, and then about a month later will be the first like Alchemy release, and then I think they said there's one more before the next set.
So every month, or at least like there's gonna be a regular set. Mm-hmm. Then they're gonna do between now and Kamigawa. Mm-hmm. There's going to be one more Alchemy set release?
There should be one this week and then one next week. Or next month. In January.
Okay.
I think.
Who's playtesting these cards? Because they're not paying anyone to do it.
I mean, who's playtesting anything anymore?
This is very true. Very true. But like...
They're playtesting Commander. They're not playtesting Standard or Alchemy cards.
We're playtesting Commander.
They just fired Play Design and they hired Casual Design or whatever.
Did they get rid of all of Play Design?
I think so. I think they replaced it with Casual Design or whatever they called it.
Oh, my body hurts.
Yeah, man, Chad needs more Commander decks.
Bro, Commander decks are where the beans are.
That's right.
I don't even know what Commander is. Get me more of those Commanders.
They're all garbage reprints. That's where all the money is.
Yeah, it's like, okay, so here's what we're going to do.
5 new cards and 95 garbage reprints.
Yeah. How are we going to design these new commanders? Bro, just take every commander we already have, all right, bro? Add 1 mana to it and add an ability. Ship it. Yep. It's like, okay. Or hear me out. Just take 1 mana off. Ship it. And then that's what we do. We just take a mana off. And we're like, cool. We're good to go. Yeah, I don't...
I guess thinking about it, I don't actually know if they got rid of Play Design.
Yeah, I guess
that was my understanding, but I guess I don't know that.
I feel like they brought in more people for Play Design and then spun people off onto the casual Play Design side. But, like, they didn't hire... We're going to do, I don't know, 12 standard and air quote set releases.
Yeah.
A year people.
Oh, no. Yeah, definitely not.
So now they definitely have more leeway with if you miss, that's fine. We just fix it in a month.
Or right away.
Right, yeah.
I think the only time frame they gave was a month after set release. I don't think they gave an actual timeline after that. I don't know why if they miss, I don't know why they couldn't fix it right away.
I mean, they very well could. So it's like, so there's less pressure to get it right because you have the ability to fix it later. So why do I need to get it right the first time so we don't have to put as much into it to get it right? Because it's...
Yeah, so it says, we currently plan to release new Alchemy sets in the weeks following the adjacent standard release. For example, players should expect the Alchemy set for Kamigawa to become available sometime in March. So Kamigawa officially releases in February, and the Alchemy release for Kamigawa will be in March. And then it says, we intend to rebalance cards on a more frequent basis to keep the format fun, fast, and dynamic. So it sounds like the digital-only cards will come out about a month after set release, and then they'll rebalance like as they need to, with no schedule.
Gotcha.
A frequent basis.
A frequent basis, good sir.
Yeah. So you remember the early days of Pioneer, where they said bannings will be frequent and plentiful?
Yeah.
How often were they doing bannings then?
Like every week? Like every week, every 2 weeks?
Yep. So I imagine that's what we will see.
Yay.
Yep.
So part of the problem, right, is if you look at your list of sweet, new, hot, dynamic, fun alchemy cards.
Yeah.
How many of them are commons?
None.
Yeah,
none are commons.
How many are uncommons?
Less than there are rares.
None. I do believe is the answer.
There's uncommons.
Oh, there's uncommons?
Angel of Unity is an uncommon.
Okay. And I say the initial ones that were spoiled were all commons, or all rares and mythics. Right?
Kindred Denial's an uncommon.
So you get your sweet, whatever, rare, the weird white collected company on a stick.
Mm-hmm.
Right, so you get that card. Great.
Mm-hmm.
And then they realize, oops, it's busted.
Yeah.
And they nerf it.
Yeah.
And they say, they make it so this creature can't be blinked. Right? Because people were, setting up their deck that they could get it, and then, I don't know. We don't have Flicker Wisp, but, Flicker Wisp.
Right.
Oh, man, they're getting way too much value. Right? So they nerf it, and you built the Flicker Wisp deck.
Yeah.
Okay, now what? Now you're just left holding the bag with a card that now your deck doesn't work? Like the same thing they did with, Vesper Lark and the Perpetually thing?
Yeah, I mean, that's not necessarily a problem with Alchemy, even though it certainly doesn't help the problem. That's more a problem with Arena's garbage economy, though.
I mean, as the kids say, facts. But it still sucks that they're doing that.
Yeah.
Right? So you build a deck and then they nerf something. Yeah. And then what happens is you're stuck with a deck that doesn't work. Yeah. And you're out all of these cards because you built a deck that you thought was going to work, but now does not. Right. And so, that's really, I think, really rough to do to people.
Yeah.
What are you... I don't know, what are you supposed to... how are you supposed to have any confidence in the client?
Yeah, so, that kind of ties into one of the other complaints I have about Alchemy, which, like I said, I'm conflicted. I kind of like both sides of this. There's some things that I really don't mind that it exists, and there's some things where I wish they just stop messing with stuff. But so that ties into how this is going to release. And they said that it's going to come out roughly a month after an actual set release. So what have we been preaching to people for, I don't know, I guess years at this point about how to manage your Arena account?
Draft.
Yeah, well, guess what you can't do with Alchemy cards? Packs.
Can't draft them, can't get them in drafts.
Yeah, so the only way to get them is by purchasing them, or I guess, maybe they'll put them in the mastery tree, or as, rewards for events or something. I guess they could do. But
I thought that they, you only got Alchemy rewards if you were playing Alchemy events. So, if you're playing standard... Their standard rewards aren't Alchemy cards.
Okay.
Now, if they change the Zeke's Chariot and you own 4 of Zeke's
Yeah.
Chariots, you still own 4 of the Alchemy version.
You own 4 of each version.
Yes. So it's not like
Yeah.
you have to get the Alchemy version. You have it because you have the vanilla version of the
Right,
card.
but if you wanted Tybalt Wicked Tormentor, the only way you can get that is either by burning wild cards on it or opening alchemy packs, which also have whatever current sets cards in them. So it's not like opening an alchemy pack, you're only going to get alchemy cards. You open an alchemy Crimson Vow pack, and it's Crimson Vow cards or alchemy cards.
Whoa.
I think.
It's a sad time. Is
Why?
what it is. No, just like how confusing they make this crap.
Yeah.
Like, so I would say one, it's going to be super expensive. It is going to be a way to separate people from the wild cards.
Yeah, like it almost makes it so that you can't do what we've been telling people to do anymore.
Yeah, and I mean,
You really can't put, 25 or $30 into Arena and do a bunch of drafts and get most of whatever release, because after a month there's going to be 60 some new cards that the only way you can get is either to incinerate your wild cards or put a bunch of money into opening alchemy packs,
which is also not the best thing. So,
right.
I mean, because while some of the alchemy cards are powerful,
Mm-hmm.
there are some that just seem awful.
Yeah.
That, like,
Evidently the one that I thought was good is awful. Who knew?
but, like, there's a lot of cards that you just look at and you're like, yeah, I don't think that card hits. Like, it feels like, I think Magic has a problem they don't know how to fix, which is, while they talk about this small subset of people that are super competitive and this whole great big group of people that are just playing for fun, right?
Yeah.
I don't know how much money you can wring out of an individual fun person.
Yeah.
Now, I know how much money you can wring out of a competitive person. It's all of it.
A lot.
A lot. Right?
Yeah.
So the competitive person plays the best deck, and then the fun person wants to play their fun deck, and then spends like an afternoon just getting totally smashed. And now, granted, maybe they get to do the thing that their deck does once, and they're like, sick. And they're super happy, and that's all they needed.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. But I think it's really hard to just keep going back to people and being like, yeah, this card that you thought was good really isn't. And we're just going to, like, keep soaking you for these for, like, ever.
Yeah.
And it's just like, can we please not? Like, I don't know how to, like, make that better. Like, because, like, you have these cards that, like, no competitive person is going to play.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like, I haven't looked at the whole, like, I keep listening to the Saffron Olive, like, daily MTG spoiler video, which that's all his YouTube is going to become now. It's just, like, constant
perpetual set releases.
Perpetual set releases, right?
Yeah.
And it's just going to be, like, but, like, I listen to them and, doing other stuff, maybe not listening much, but there's stuff that I'm like, oh, wait, I want to go play this format because of this card.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, when Arena started, like, before they had duplicate protection, I missed a bunch of cards because I was opening, like, my 6th fill-in-the-blank card from guilds. And then they added duplicate protection, and through, like, drafting and careful play, I basically had all the cards, like, playsets of almost everything.
Yep.
Right? And then we get to the Jumpstart era and, like, the flashback drafts.
Yeah.
And I have holes because like, it's too hard to, like, do flashback drafts, and I'm just not going to spend all this money on
Jumpstart.
And so you just end up, like, where, like, maybe I do want to play fill in the blank historic deck, right? But like I'm not going to spend the money, so I'll just play something else or not at all.
Yeah.
And like I feel like they're just putting a lot of people in the like I'll go play something else or not at all camp. And think about like all the cards that like got added to historic. Like how many of them are playable? How many like jumpstart cards are actually seeing consistent play? And out of like the 600 they added, like 40?
Yeah.
Right? Like no, I'm not saying there's not someone playing like tribal tree folk or whatever like weird archetype there is, but like the cards that actually saw play that actually impacted the metagame are like few and far between. It's like, the jumpstart cards, it's like the weird tribal card from Merfolk and the weird tribal like draw a tribe member elf. I've played against both of those.
Yeah.
Dragon Race Chandler and Unholy Heat, like that whole like package of stuff. Mm-hmm. But like it's very few cards that matter. And so like if they're releasing 60 cards, like how many of those cards are actually going to matter and are going to see like widespread play?
Because I kind of have a counter argument to you though.
Okay.
Is we're basically doubling the number of releases between new cards coming out just for digital and cards that are going to be rebalanced, retweaked. Do you think the metagame is going to get to a point where it's stable enough that you can only play these certain cards?
It might not. And this was my upside. Yeah. Which was I was looking forward to like my favorite formats on Arena are the like for 2 days we're playing like what was the midweek Magic this week? It was like at the edge. Or what would have been last week, like at the edge, where it was like you could only play cards from D&D forward.
Yeah.
Right? I had a lot of fun for those 2 days.
Mm-hmm.
Like, mid-range cards were allowed to be played. Right? I was playing, like, red-black, like, I think it was red-black, like, treasury mid-range stuff. It was great.
Yeah.
Like, there was nothing super busted. Like, your removal spells worked. Like, it was cool. Right? And, like, played against a wide variety of stuff. Because no one's going to spend the time.
Right.
To, like, break the basically block constructed format that doesn't mean anything.
Yep.
Right? And so, cool. We, like, if, Alchemy turns into this weird, like, midweek Magic where you can, like, dip in and, like, play something and play against other, like, maybe not the most fine-tuned decks or, just, like, reasonable things that are like, interesting to play against. Like, that's great. But I don't know if that's going to happen. Like, what are the odds of they dump 60 new cards and they rebalance? And then a week and a half later, we're talking about how the Alchemy format is solved. Like, didn't they just go in and, like, turn all the knobs?
I mean, it sounds like that's what they're going to do, yeah.
And, like, shake it up? But then they're also going to run, like, whatever you qualify for tournaments, like Pro Tour or whatever the heck they call them.
Well, so, yeah, I have pretty much given up all hope of having anything resembling, like, a concrete OP system at this point. So I didn't listen or read anything having to do with that.
You were like, and we're done.
Yeah, at this point, like, everything is so confusing and up in the air and not concrete that there is, like, actual zero chance I'm ever going to qualify for anything ever again. So I completely just ignore it.
Just, like, no reason to pay attention. Fair.
Yeah. Like I kind of wanted to play in the draft open this past weekend,
Yeah.
but because it was draft and like I enjoyed draft, but I couldn't bring myself to do anything competitive just because like nothing exists anymore.
I mean, I just did a quick cost benefit analysis. I looked at how many drafts I did in the format,
Yeah,
and I looked at how many 7-win drafts I had,
yeah,
and those numbers were not close enough together for me to bother. So when we were talking about like, you're not going to be able to do $25 or $30 a set. I think I put $100 in Arena for the year. And
yeah.
I'm still
I
running.
can't even remember the last time I put money in Arena.
I'm still like I am like at the end.
Yeah, I am also at the end,
but like I basically have played Arena for this like entire year, and I was like, oh man, they're gonna like release like the next remastered draft set, and they're gonna like pull me in.
mm-hmm.
But they've decided not to do that.
Right.
And
Instead, they gave us Alchemy that is not pulling you in.
as the kids say, get again in these, miss me with that. Yeah, just miss me with that Alchemy stuff, man. So yeah, they just missed me with that. Like, don't care. Like, that's not gonna like separate me from my wild cards or like my Arena time.
Yeah.
And like, I'm not just saying it to be like grumpy old man. It just like I didn't sign up for Hearthstone. I didn't sign up for like the biggest thing I was thinking like strategically, and we've talked about it with these other like random effect cards, is like, what is your plan?
Mm-hmm.
Right? It's like one of the things you talk about really enjoying about Magic is like making a plan and kind of working through things. And there's already the variance of your draw step. When you're like, my plan involves me drawing one of the like, 20 creatures in my deck. Mm-hmm. Or a removal spell. So I've got 30 out of like, 45 cards. So 2/3 of my deck is not trash right now. Yeah. Right? There's still 33% of the time you just draw trash and you're like, okay, I got to make a new plan. Right. But like now you're like, all right, I've got to draw this card that I want. Then I got to play it. Then I got to hope I get one of these 3 cards I get to draft from my spell book. I have to hope that one of those 3 is one of these 6 cards out of 50 that are in the spell book. And sometimes I'm just going to like play the card and it's going to be like a literal blank.
Yeah.
And it's like, cool. Like what is my planning long-term plan scenario here? There's not really one there.
Yeah, not when everything's so random. It's like the Davriel Planeswalker where like you didn't even know what the card was going to do when you activated it.
There's a lot of those that are like, draft a card from your spellbook. And it's like, can we just give me like on the card like pay a red, deal a damage? As opposed to like, every so often you get Lava Dart.
Yeah.
And then other times you get not Lava Dart.
Right.
It's like, but I really wanted Lava Dart. Yeah, no. You don't get that.
Yeah.
But I really wanted Lava Dart. You do not. You do not get Lava Dart. Go away. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how to make me more excited about this. And again, they might not care. Right? Like,
well, yeah, and like that's kind of what, and I feel like a broken record because I feel like I've been saying this all year long, but like I'm realizing that the game is different now, and it's not the game that like I fell in love with and wanted to do this podcast about anymore. Not that I want to stop doing the podcast. I enjoy talking with my buddy and talking about Magic cards and doing the show and everything, but it's not the same game as it was. And I think this whole Alchemy thing, like I said at the top of the show, kind of like puts a pin in that hat where we are now not Magic anymore. It's a rules engine, but it's a different game than you play in paper. Yeah. I really think that Alchemy is just going to take the place of Standard. Nobody's going to play Standard anymore because of all the problems we've had. And I'm really wondering like how many of the awful Standard environments that we've had lately haven't necessarily been a problem with the standard environment, but they were a problem with, you know, millions and hundreds of millions of games getting played over the course of 2 or 3 weeks that solve the format instantly. Whereas, you know, we used to get standard formats that would evolve slowly over time, and there was a new deck every week, and, you know, you could have a tier 1, tier 2 deck, and, you know, you could watch the meta kind of move around week to week after watching Star City events or Grand Prix or Pro Tours or whatever. You don't have any of that anymore. The meta is solved instantly. And I really don't think that that's a problem with standard. I think it's a problem with arena. And like this kind of fixes that problem.
It does. And I mean, the reason that other digital card games do this is for this exact thing, that like it's just too easy to solve the format.
Yeah.
And so kind of course, like that's what you have to like keep adding new cards to make it so you don't, you know, have the format solved instantaneously.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like, it sucks because it's taking away from what made the game great. And, like, there is no longer that, like, journey of discovery because, you know, 35 streamers are going to, like, play 8 hours a day for a week and a half and figure everything out. And fine, whatever, great. It just changes
right, but
things.
like if all of those, like that's kind of part of the problem though, is that, you know, you have millions of games getting played on Arena, and everybody looks to all these content creators that are, you know, telling you what the best deck is and what its strong matchups are and what its weak matchups are and what you should play this week. And, you know, you got Yo Man, you know, putting out his weekly decks you should watch out for, decks that I wouldn't play, the deck that I would play, whatever. Like, you get all these people telling you what decks to play, and then everybody plays those decks, and then the meta never changes. And I guess, like, what I'm trying to say is that all of this changes with Alchemy, because you have, like, the game that I like isn't Arena. The game that I like is Paper Magic. Arena was, I hoped Arena was a way for me to kind of practice my paper game in a way that didn't involve me, you know, making multiple orders of cards throughout the course of a standard season, where I would, you know, change in between decks or whatever. I could try them out on Arena and then settle on a deck before I bought it in paper. That's kind of what I wanted Arena to be, but that's not really what Arena ended up being. And if all of these content creators and streamers and whatever else, everyone playing Arena is going to be playing Alchemy, which I think they are. I think standard on Arena will exist for a couple weeks every set release and then just be replaced by Alchemy. Like, that's fine, because then the focus is off of standard and we can go back to playing real Magic again.
Yeah, like I like the concept of this is a way to slow solving standard down because you take eyes off of it.
Yeah.
Which is,
you know, you get Crokies and, you know, whoever else are going to be jamming Alchemy because there's no reason to play standard anymore. Like, if they're going to change standard every week, then you know, you just play whatever the most current thing is. I mean, that's what people are going to want to see. So
I mean, think about what was it, Standard 2022, when they pre-rotated stuff.
Yeah,
and people were writing articles about that.
Right.
On Star City.
A format that doesn't exist.
That didn't exist, no one cared about, but it was better than standard.
Right.
And so people wanted to know about it. And wanted to, like, get good at it. And so, like, that is a, you know, that is reasonable. But, like, so one of the things I had talked about to you, and I was like, put this in the show notes, is another way they could have done this, right? Is they could have moved Alchemy to, they could have made Alchemy, they even could have, like, adjusted cards that were too good for standard, right? But instead of throwing in the Hearthstone cards, they could have put in already existing Magic cards
Yeah.
that interacted well in the standard format that we had,
Mm-hmm.
so that it would change standard, right? Like this, I don't know, this format is like probably pretty different if there's like Spell Pierce,
Right.
right? So like they could put Spell Pierce in the format, or you know, even something that's not even like fun, like Invisible Stalker,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like or Glade Cover Scout. Like we could have a Boggles deck,
Yeah.
right? Or I'm trying to think of things like that are like in, like they could somehow like prop up like a snow archetype, not just like, you know, mono green and mono white and like big thing. They could like put in other cards
Yeah.
to like either address problems or like prop up archetypes. Like I'm trying to think, is there like a, do we have a try, like let's say party. They really want a party to be good, right? You could put some good like wizards or whatever
Mm-hmm.
in, right? To like, oh hey, this and this, these party payoffs are good, which I think they all
Yeah.
are, most of them, right? But the cards I have to play to get party are bad.
Right.
So they could put better party cards into the format, right? Into the standard card pool to power up party. So now party's playable. Great, we did it. There's a new deck. But we didn't have to invent new Hearthstone cards.
So,
Do you understand what I mean?
yeah, I know what you're trying to say. I don't know if that accomplishes the goal that they're trying to accomplish, though.
I guess
Like, it definitely makes Standard a different format, which is one of the goals, but it doesn't really differentiate Arena from Magic. And I really think they're trying to make Arena not paper Magic.
I mean, you could have like a format that is not paper Magic, right? Which, you know, Arena being what it is not paper Magic, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right, like Alchemy, there's no analog to Historic in paper Magic, right?
Right.
And then Alchemy, if you were putting, I don't know, Caldoran Outpost into standard to like shore up blue white,
Yeah.
or you know, I'm trying to think of some other random, like whatever, again, random party creatures, so party's good.
Mm-hmm.
So like you could make a format that is not anything you see in paper, but is not generating these not playable outside of arena cards.
Right,
And
but I think that's the point. Like, I don't think they want it to be able to be played in paper.
So
I think that's the point.
I agree, but I guess like why? Because like we initially thought, right, that the role of Arena and Odd was to onboard players such that you start playing Arena,
Yeah.
Wizard of the Coast, Chad gets all your beans,
Yeah.
right, to play Arena. And then Friday night comes and you want to leave your house. And so you have to go buy packs and give Magic your money to have physical cards.
Yeah.
So, right, so they get you twice. You've built this a digital collection, and now you're building a physical collection, right? So that was what our initial, like, I think what we thought the initial model was going to be. I'm willing to bet that's what Wizards thought their initial model was going to be.
Yeah.
Right? Are they just making so much money that they're trying to become a digital TCG that just happens to make some real cards?
Well, I think there's slightly more to it than that, but yes.
Okay.
Think about like everything else that's happened over the last 2 years. We don't have OP anymore, or we have a system that's like unrecognizable and completely ununderstandable. And you also, because of like the timing of the year of Commander in this whole pandemic, like that's all people play now.
Yes. Very true.
And like the client is built in such a way where I don't think it's even feasible to have multiplayer Magic on Arena. Like you would have to completely rework the client, I think. I mean, I'm not a programmer or anything, but I would guess that that's not an easy task. So you have, yeah, I mean, I think that's exactly the case. Is you have a digital card game that, oh yeah, there's this other way to play, this other, here the rules engine is the same. You learned it on Arena. You play a digital card game on Arena, and then there's physical cards where you can play casually with a bunch of your buddies on EDH night, which may or may not be Friday nights. Like,
True.
I think the Friday night Magic like thing is a thing of the past.
Yeah, you might be right.
And that's kind of the point that I was trying to make with like Magic just being a rules engine now.
Yeah,
where you have the digital game that uses the rules engine, and then you have the paper game that uses the rules engine, and you have, Magic Lord of the Rings that uses the rules engine, and you have Magic Space Marines that uses the rules engine, and Magic whatever universes beyond they're going to come out with next, Star Trek or whatever, that they all use the same rules engine, but they're very different games.
Very different.
Yeah. And I had mentioned, I don't remember if I mentioned at the top of the show or in the pre-show, there was a new Dice to Removal episode that just came out with Prof and PK. And it was all about Universes Beyond. And they kind of brought up an interesting point that kind of goes along with what I'm saying. I don't think they necessarily spelled out the, rules engine with different skins on it part, but they were complaining about the Lord of the Rings set going to be in Modern and how that like breaks everything, because we were told when Stranger Things and Walking Dead came out that they had to be in Legacy because that's how the rules of the format were written, right?
Yeah.
Well, they just broke that rule with Lord of the Rings, saying that it's Modern legal, because that's not the rules that are written for the Modern format. Yeah. So you already have, like, between Modern Horizons and this Lord of the Rings, like, Modern is a very different thing than it used to be. But, oh, wait, we have Pioneer that doesn't have all those weird cards in there. So are they trying to push... Like, I really don't know what Wizards' plan is anymore. I don't even know if they want people to play paper Magic anymore or competitive Magic. But, like, if they're using this Universes Beyond thing to, like, move the game in a different direction, you know what I mean? Do you know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah. So I was thinking the other day, like before this whole conversation, that one of the things about Magic was it always kind of felt like sacred in that it was its own thing, chilling out over here, and it wasn't super influenced by pop culture or whatever trend of the year or the week that there was, right? It was its own little world, and it kind of sat over here, and it was like this pristine, untouched thing, right? I left the game in 2000 or 2001, and came back in like 2014 or something.
Yep.
And it was still there. And it was still vampires and goblins and dragons and angels.
Yep.
Right? Like
mostly the same.
Mostly the same. They were equipment that I refused to use because I didn't know how to use them and I didn't want to ask anyone. But for the most part, yeah. But for the most part, it was the game I had left behind. I came back to it, right?
Yep.
It was on some level chess, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's like you left chess, you came back. There's still white pieces and black pieces, right? And like
they still move the same.
They still move the same. The rules are also the same.
Yep.
Now it seems like it's Magic's losing its like I'm over here doing my thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
And wow, right? Like if I want to buy a chess
Chad
set,
saw how many beans were over there.
Oh, that's very true, bro. You see all those beans, bro? I'm gonna get those beans.
Yeah.
Right. If I want to go buy a Mario and Luigi chess set, I can't. I can buy a Mario Brothers chess set, right? The game engine is still the same. Fine, happy for me, right? But you would never see like two grandmasters sitting down at an official like chess tournament, like playing with Mario and Princess Peach, right? It just wouldn't happen, and because it's like, oh hey, this is how the game should be played, right here, chess. There are all these fun ways that you can play and interact with the game, but when it comes time to play the game serious, here's what you do. And Wizards, for years, right, was like, hey, these are the game pieces, you play them. And then they were like, we can make them shiny. It's like, okay, they're shiny, but they're still like, it's a shiny lightning dragon, and it's a shiny lightning dragon, but it's still that lightning dragon that I know and tolerate or love, whatever your point of view is.
Yeah.
Right? But now it's like, they're like putting Mario and Luigi on everything and making everything about playing the fun, wacky cards and less about like, the sanctity of the game. I sound like I'm an old baseball fan or some crap.
Well, I mean, what you're saying makes complete sense, and that's exactly what they did. You had likened it to like two grandmaster like chess people playing a game, and when they play with like white and black pieces that all look like what they're supposed to look like. Well, they took that away though. So you are completely correct. That is the way you should play the game. But you don't play the game that way anymore because there's no OP. Yeah. There's no competitive play, I should say.
Yeah, there's no reason to do that.
Yeah.
And so it just it sucks.
Yeah.
Right?
It does.
So I am in for, like you said, the idea that we are going to get maybe a format that is not as solved, and you can go play some stuff in it and like have an enjoyable time. Like that, I am okay with. I can get behind an enjoyable time. I really can. Yep. But I don't know. I don't know. I just wish I wish they would look at it and say like, hey, we can make this better with cards that use the Magic engine that we had for 30 years. Not the like, oh, hey, what's the Magic engine if we make it, if we add all this like Hearthstone stuff or like digital only random stuff? Like, are we trying to like, is there some like player survey that I'm not getting that is like, hey, do you play Hearthstone? I do. Oh, what would make you play more Magic? Random stuff. Oh, cool. In. Right?
Yeah.
So I don't know why we're making this shift. Like, you could accomplish a lot of these same goals while like leaving
Magic.
magic-y. Yeah, it could stay magic-y. But instead it's like, nah, we're gonna not be super magic-y for you. So
Yeah.
that's my big complaint is I wish it would just like I wish it wouldn't change. But like
Well, that's
I
the only thing that stays the same, right? Is that change is inevitable?
I guess I'm old and I don't want things to change anymore.
Yeah.
I
Man,
can't
this
handle it.
podcast got deep.
Yeah, I can't handle change, man. Um but no, it just seems like but a lot of the change seems like it's just changed for change's sake. You know what I mean? Where
Yeah.
they're not like
I don't know. I can see the other world too, though.
oh, what's the other world? And when's that set dropping?
uh, 2023, it's coming. The other world.
Okay.
No, like where this opens the game back up.
To make it like interesting again?
Not just interesting, but like to let you play the way you want to play.
Yeah, I mean
Let,
you might be right. Everyone might just run to this format and I might be able to just go like play like real honest to God standard.
yeah, and it may even. I don't. I know I spent a good chunk of this episode talking about how it seems like they're trying to differentiate like Arena from Magic and how it's kind of another game now, but this might even open up more room on Arena for actual Magic. Like they've already moved Historic so far away from Pioneer that there's no way you could call Historic Pioneer anymore. But moving it even further by rebalancing cards and injecting more digital cards, does that open up room for Pioneer where maybe we will get Pioneer Masters at some point?
Maybe. Like,
And I mean, Standard's kind of a lost cause, but I guess that's the casualty here is Standard.
yes, standard is the one that is the thing that kind of goes away.
Yeah.
It's just like, okay, like standard goes away. We're not gonna like worry about it anymore. And I mean that's sad because I mean how long was standard just like the thing that we did?
I mean, Standard was my jam. I was the Standard guy.
You very much were the standard guy, but I mean
Yeah.
like
I mean,
it just
how many team tournaments did we do where I was the Standard guy?
like all of them.
All of them, yeah. Yeah, it sucks that Standard's kind of taken the hit for no. I guess I shouldn't say for no reason, but it kind of stinks that Standard's eating the bullet for this. But I mean, I guess I would be okay with that if we got Pioneer on Arena, or if it took enough focus off of Standard on Arena that like Paper Standard could exist again.
Yeah, like the fact that there is a chance that it leads to like paper standard or because now you're not able to play a million games of standard, so you like have to play it at your local LGS as opposed to only getting to play it at your like you just play 1,000 games on Arena. So I mean that could be a positive. I can only hope.
So, I guess
But
time will tell.
time will tell. So I added something to the show notes. I don't know if you saw it.
Okay.
I actually I see if I can find I googled the quote. Hopefully
Okay.
Google did not let me down. All right. Hopefully this is not a fake quote, but here we go. Yeah, but your scientists were so preoccupied with whether or not they could, they didn't stop and think if they should. Right?
Yeah.
Right. So that from Jurassic Park when we're like making dinosaurs and like should we be making dinosaurs? Well, we can. Okay, should we?
Yeah.
Right. So for years, what was the Morrow thing? Restrictions breed creativity. Is that it? I actually wrote that one down. I think. Yeah. Cool.
Yep. He has preached that multiple times.
they have just cast off all their restrictions, right? The greatest restriction Magic had was
True.
it had to work physically in your hands. You had to do
Mm-hmm.
stuff that two people could visually see or
Right.
like conceptualize and keep track of using nothing
Yeah.
more than like a pen and a piece of paper, and if you were lucky, a bag full of glass beads, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we've just thrown that restriction off. And I don't know how much of that is going to lead to, hey, way more creative stuff happening, or just
Yeah.
stuff for the sake of stuff. Or, hey, what did you do this weekend? I played some Hearthstone. Here are 4 new card designs. Aren't
So
they just
I
Hearthstone
want you to
cards?
remember this conversation right now
Okay.
when we talk about Unfinity when it gets spoiled.
Why is this?
Well, because you're talking about, physical cards and things that players need to play the game. And I heard a rumor about Unfinity.
Okay, what is this rumor? You can't do this to me and just like walk away.
So
What
you
is
remember when I mentioned that weird black circle that was covering up the Evil Knievel shirt or whatever, Devil Knievel?
Yes.
It wasn't because they were trying to cover up the shirt. It's
Okay.
because there's a piece of the box they didn't want out in the public yet. And
Okay.
there's text inside of that circle that
Okay.
evidently says something about a new game piece in every pack.
Oh no. Are we gonna be like scanning QR codes and the crap?
No, speculation is that it's linked to that mischief secret lair where the cards change.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Are we gonna be like peeling off things and finding other cards behind them?
I've heard rumors of scratch off cards. I've heard rumors of peel off cards, and I've heard rumors of stickers.
Cool.
I don't know which of them are true, if any of them, but those are things I have heard and or seen on the internets.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Um, could I interest you in a collector's item? The unscratched off scratch off cards?
Yeah.
You just
Or
get
the unstuck stickers or the
yeah,
unpeeled
the
lands.
unpeeled sticker sheet.
Yeah.
Yeah, that just seems, I mean, just so weird.
Yeah.
Just like, yeah, we don't care anymore. We have
Yeah.
given up. Yeah, like it just seems like we're, I mean, part of it seems like we are running out of ideas. Right?
Yeah, I
Like
mean
four
maybe that's behind this whole thing.
four sets a year for 30 years. Like I guess you do start to get tapped out
Well, I mean
after a
it's
while.
not even just 4 sets anymore. It's 6 sets plus 2 supplemental products
Yeah,
plus a reprint set.
plus like whatever else.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't um I I don't know, it just seems like we're trying so hard to find quote unquote cool new things to do,
Yeah.
and we're just kind of coming back to the same stuff.
Yeah.
And it's like, but like are we making the game better? And I don't know if we are.
No, I mean a lot of the decisions I think have made the game worse, not better. Companions.
Yeah, companions were very bad.
Yeah. It
Very.
just like changed every deck forever. Like every deck you had to start with, well, should I have a companion?
Yeah. Like if you um, if you got rid of Companion, I don't think anyone would like feel bad at all.
No.
Right? Like everyone just be like, okay, cool. I
Yeah.
I feel like that was just like a stone miss. Right? Like I don't think that was like a I I had a plan to like do this. I think that was a like oopsie, we done goofed.
Or was it, we're running out of ideas and this is something that opens up new design space, so let's try it?
I mean, very well, it probably was that because I mean, I feel like that was an idea that Morrow said he had had for a while,
Yeah.
and that he just was like they just decided to try it,
Yeah.
and it's like okay, but like I think the most frustrating thing is people were like, yeah, please don't, like what's his name, Sam Black.
Yeah. Sam Black. Yeah.
Yeah, like how many people were like, can we please not do this? And it's just like, nah, we're all in.
Yeah.
And it's like, but please, can we not be all in? Oh no, we are all the way in. It's like,
Yeah,
oh
man. Jed says people like Commander. Got to get them
yeah,
Commander dollars.
we gotta put like
Let's
45
play Commander
legends.
while you're not playing Commander.
Let's put 40. Yeah, exactly. People like Commander, so let's bring them that Commander feeling.
Yeah.
To their not Commander games, and it's like, can we not, good sir? Can we
Yeah.
not bring Commander to their not Commander games?
Yeah.
I just feel like we've lost the thread, and they are like confusing dollars from Arena
Mm-hmm.
with we're doing a good job.
I mean, it's hard to say because, like, you don't get actual numbers published. Like, if you look back into Hasbro's like earning reports, they don't tell you where every dollar came from. They tell you magic dollars in general, but also lump other stuff in with it. So you really don't know like what does well and what doesn't. But supposedly, like every set is the best selling set ever. So I don't know. I don't even know that that's true. That there's so much arena dollars that nothing else matters. If Forgotten Realms, which is probably one of the worst sets I've ever played through, to the point where I didn't buy any. If that was the best selling set ever, then like the game is definitely different than I know it. And like people that aren't me are spending money on the product.
Yes, there's a lot of people that don't realize that for Adventures in the Forgotten Realms was a bad Magic set. That are like
Everything about it was bad. Like the cards were bad, the limited environment was bad. There was nothing redeeming about that set.
not a thing, but yet
But
greatest
best-selling
Magic
set ever
of all time.
Yeah. So I mean, if that's the case, then Wizards is doing the right move from a business point of view because they are making more money with all of the other people than they would be with me.
Yes, and it's like, and it's sad though, right? Because like we're kind of like the core.
Were.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we were the core, and it's like, no, you are no longer the core.
Right.
We are good, thank you.
Yep.
But it's like, no, but I used to be like not even important. Like I used to be like, you used to kind of care.
Yep.
And it's like, yeah, I don't.
Yep.
I don't anymore. And it's like, okay, like you do not care anymore. I see. It's been real and it's been fun, but I guess I will go away now.
Yep.
And so, I don't know. I don't want to say like it should go back to the way it was, But I guess I wish I understood more the reason why it was
The reason
happening.
for the change. Yeah.
Yeah, like why are we doing
I don't know.
this?
I'm like, even after all of this, I think I've made up my mind that I'm hopeful about the changes, and maybe this forces a change in the economy,
Maybe
which I
because
think is the real issue. If the economy was different, I don't think there would be as much backlash in general, and I don't think I would care as much, and I'm guessing you wouldn't care as much if the economy was different.
yeah, I
If
think
there
that
was a way to trade your cards back in, if there was, some way besides opening 1 million packs to get a wild card, like, I think that all of this would be better if the economy was different. So if this forces a change in the economy, then like that's even better. I'm almost I'm almost glad that this happens if it forces a change in the economy. Like, given all the other things that I've laid out, the shift in focus and what have you. If this makes a change in the economy, then this is probably one of the best things that could have ever happened to the game.
yeah, because like my brother, I'm gonna tell this on the podcast. He was like watching me play Arena. He's like, "Oh, what's that?" I'm like, "Oh, it's Arena," and blah blah blah. He's like, "Oh, that's neat." I was like, "Yeah, don't. Like, it's just costs too much money. Don't
Yeah.
do it to yourself.
Yeah.
It's just not worth it, dude." And he was like, "Oh, okay."
Yeah.
And like, I have a podcast about magic. I should be like trumpeting magic, and I was just like, "Don't. Just it's not worth it. Please don't. It's very much not going to be a good thing." And he was like, "Oh, okay."
Yeah.
And like,
Yeah, I mean, unless you can devote the time to get good at limited, like there's the barrier for entry is too high, and you can't even like do that anymore with Alchemy. So, yeah, I can certainly see this forcing a change in the economy, and if that happens, then they'd have to pry it out of Brad or Chad's cold dead hands. But
bro, I'm doing it. We're gonna get all the
the
beans.
beans. Yeah.
Like, no, Chad, no, we gotta save the game. Beans before game. You're like, dang it, Broseph. Can we not? Just like, no, man, we have to.
Yeah.
Every day. Every day we're looking at beans. And that is all we are looking at, people. It's like, but if we're only looking at beans, what about the bigger picture? There's nothing more important than beans.
There's no beans without the bigger picture.
Have you seen Free Guy?
I have not. I heard it's pretty good. I haven't seen it.
It is. So the bad guy character at one point, they're like played by Taika Waititi. They're like I ran the numbers, and your game would have done bad. Maybe there's more important things than numbers, bro. There's nothing more important than numbers, bro.
Yeah.
Right, and I think that's just like they're just looking at the numbers, and no one is like taking a second to be like, oh hey, maybe there is something more important than numbers.
Yeah. I mean, you also don't know how long this fight's been going on for. Like, if there was somebody that cared more than just numbers, like, how long did they get beat down for?
Yeah, or like maybe they don't work there anymore.
Yeah.
Like that could
maybe that's why they don't work there anymore.
Yeah, they tried too hard to...
Maybe they got taken out. The Corpos got them.
The Corpos, exactly. We're all the way back to Cyberpunk, people. We did it. They said it couldn't be done, but here we are. We're back at Cyberpunk. Talking about Corpos. Dirty Corpos.
That's right.
I just want to be a city kid, man. I just want to be a city kid. And you just want to be a nomad. You want to be free, driving a car.
That's right. I just got to do my own thing. Take care of my family.
Yeah.
It's all about the family.
Speaking of family, their Dom, Mr. Toretto, I've got to wake up super early to shuttle my family to an appointment.
Yes, you do.
That I have to be at 6:30.
It's not
So
that long from now. Let's call it a show.
yeah, we should probably call it a show. So there you go. It might not have been the most coherent thing, but
Yeah, we definitely didn't stick to the show notes. We really didn't talk about the format itself at all.
no, uh we we hit some points on the format. But what I was gonna say is like we are conflicted.
Yeah.
We don't know exactly what it means for the game,
Yep.
but we would like it to, I don't know. We just want it to be better, man.
Yep. Just be better.
We want, I don't know, all the jokes about, well, maybe this thing isn't for you. Like,
Yeah,
this feels like
it's not even a joke anymore. It's
like
not
this,
funny.
This very much feels like, yeah, this thing's just not for you.
Yeah.
Like, don't look at it. It'll be fine.
Yeah.
Just don't worry about it. It is 100% not for you.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay.
Unfortunately, they took Historic away when they decided that this wasn't for me. And Historic is what I had been playing, so maybe none of it's for me.
That black-white deck, you can just ignore all the fake decks and fake cards, and it'll be okay.
Okay.
It'll be okay. You'll be like, oh, this is perhaps Magic as Morrow intended.
Yeah.
Many
I had
years
been
ago.
playing Madness and Historic, so.
Oh, Madness?
Yeah.
I didn't know that was a thing.
Mono Red Madness, yep.
Okay.
Fiery Tempers and Lizards.
I've not played that one.
I'll send you a link.
That's spicy.
I'll post it
meatball.
up in.
There we go. I should probably post my the deck I'm playing because it's
sweet.
It's a good time.
I'll post it. You go to sleep.
All right. Well, with that, I think we have a show.
We do.
So if you have thoughts on Alchemy, if you'd like us to have a more focused and nuanced discussion about the format, you can let us know by tweeting at us at CasualTryPod.
Or you can hit us up on Facebook at CasualTryHardMTG or drop us an email, show@CasualTryHardMTG.com. If you're looking to pick up any singles, I think Crimson Vow stuff has kind of hit bottom. It's super cheap right now, and nobody's talking about it, which means there's probably not a whole lot of demand. So prices should be pretty low. If you're looking to pick any of that up, I would appreciate it. I think Brian would too if you use our TCG Player affiliate link, tcg.casualtryhardmtg.com. Just surf to the site using that link. Whatever you do after that, we'll get a small cut of to help keep the show going. And if you guys want to support us a little bit more directly, you can do so at patreon.com/casualtryhardmtg. Chip a couple bucks in. Really helps us out. You get added to my mailing list where I send you some cool stuff once in a while. And you also get to listen to our pre-show, which has been pretty sweet lately. The last couple pre-shows have been like A+, in my opinion.
Yes, this last one was a lot of fun.
So make sure you hop over there and, like I said, chip a couple bucks in the pot, help keep the show going, and get access to some extra content. Who doesn't want more of us anyway? And if you want to, another way you can tell us what you think about Alchemy or have a discussion or voice your concerns is in our Discord. There's a bunch of really cool people in there hanging out all the time. There's a link in the description. There's a link on all our social media. So join in, have a conversation. Let us know how you feel.
Yes, let us know. We'll appreciate it.
Yep.
So I think I can say safely we will catch you on the internet.
We'll catch you on the internet.